I was wrong. Well, not really me. It was some guy wearing a Yankees cap doing the video report here yesterday. That guy was wrong when he said that you should just overlook that storyline that Duke's youth and inexperience with the three big time freshman starters would cost them in the game against Houston with those four returning starters, that veteran laden team. Yeah, definitely wrong. Although it looked like a genius play, did it not? Until those final minutes and that final 9-0 run by the Cougars? Yeah, but that's why they played the entire game. Hi, everyone. Al DeMarco here, General Manager, DeMarcoSports.com, and I'm going to take a look at the Women's National Championship game, a play that I've won 2 straight years and three of the last four, and I'm going to give it away for the first time here for free, and that's coming up in just a moment. Listen, when you look back at that game, and yesterday, of course, it didn't affect me in one way, but it hurt me in another, and I'll explain why. I had my best bet, a 20 dime raise the bar release on Florida. And if you know my history with the Gators in this tournament, oh, it took a lot to release Florida, but again, I had faith in them. And once again, they fell down and played a miserable first half. But the difference between Florida and Duke is that Florida had a 22-year-old senior and Walter Clayton Jr. running the show, where Duke didn't have that senior, that veteran leadership to guide them when everything was falling apart at the end. So, yes, I was wrong. But hey, listen, we're going to talk about that game tomorrow, obviously. Now, in terms of how that game has affected me, I was right there in three bracket pools that I have been playing right this year. Three of them. And you've had my brackets from the outset. I had Duke and Florida advancing. I had three of the Final Four teams in there too, with the only exception Michigan State I had there instead of Auburn. And Houston screwed me. Yeah, just absolutely devastated me in all three. I mean, I was on the verge, if Florida was to win tomorrow night, of probably hitting at least one of the three, because, of course, final points, total points would be the determining factor. Now, also, I told you last week that I thought Duke would beat everybody in the tournament, and I told you here on the video report that, hey, you had to play Duke at even money to win the whole damn thing. Wasn't quite right there, was I? But if you remember, the Monday prior to the tournament starting, over at DeMarcoSports.com, I also said that I thought the way to play this tournament before it started was to take Florida plus 380 to win it all and Duke plus 350 to win it all, because I thought both of those teams would naturally progress to the championship game. They didn't. But I thought the take back money was so good that even getting one of the two, how could you go wrong? Well, hey, the Duke play at 350 plus 350 is dead, but the Florida play plus 380 is very much alive. So financially, yeah, the brackets, oh well, that's how it goes. To be alive this late in your Final Four with your brackets and be on the verge of winning money, it's a wonderful feeling, but you can't win them all. Okay, with that being said, let's take a look here at this game between Connecticut and South Carolina. Uh, you shouldn't be surprised that Connecticut is a 6.5 point favorite. And the reason I say that, as I've said many times in all sports, when it comes to getting to a championship game, I always like teams that are rising, that are on a roll. And that is certainly Connecticut here, a team that has just been an absolute tear, 15 straight wins coming in here. And look at how they have dominated in the tournament so far. Overmatched Arkansas State, they won 103-34. South Dakota State, another overmatched team, 91-57. Oklahoma, 82-59. USC, 78-64. Yes, Watkins didn't play. UCLA, though, in the semifinals, a good UCLA team. They took care of business, 85-51. Where, excuse me, South Carolina looked good against Texas in its semifinal game, but they had struggled in their previous two tournament games. Then you go back to the fact of how Connecticut went to Columbia and just destroyed South Carolina. As a 6.5 point road dog, they won that game by 29 points. Hell, South Carolina was so limited offensively in that game, so kept in check by Connecticut, that the Gamecocks had quarters of 14, 9, and 14 points. And you look at the box score and you look at the team stats in that game, and you see that Connecticut outshot them 43.7% to 37.7. 3 point land And I'll come back to that in a moment. Rebounding, 48 to 29 edge. And on the offensive glass, Connecticut was +9. And that consequently turned into an advantage in fast break points, 31 to 12. Now, back to 3-point shooting. And this is why I think Connecticut has the huge edge here today. Connecticut was 13 for 28 from 3-point land. South Carolina was 3 for 17. They say defense wins championships. They say defense travels. And of course, this is a neutral site in Tampa, just like the semifinals the other day. But I think in this game, it's the offensive firepower that Connecticut brings to the floor that is going to make the difference. You go back to that first meeting and you see that the top three scorers for Connecticut, Paige Buchers, which is really funny because, it used to be Paige Buchers, and now everybody says Paige Beckers. I don't know. But listen, she's one hell of a player, senior, who averaged 20 points a game this year, 4.4 rebounds, 4.7 assists, 2.2 steals a game. You look at her, freshman Sarah Strong, who's coming off that monstrous game against UCLA with 22 points and 8 rebounds, and then Aziz Fudd. That trio combined for 56 points, I believe it was, in the South Carolina game. Hell, I think they combined for 57 or 58 points against UCLA in the semifinal game. That is some strong offensive firepower. But as a team, Connecticut from the field, almost 51% this year. They hit at almost a 38% clip from beyond the arc, too. And I just don't think South Carolina can contend there. And that's why I say that offense is going to be the differential. Yeah, South Carolina hits at a 46% clip, but only 32.8 from 3-point land. And you look how these teams are constructed. South Carolina, I just told you, 32.8% from 3-point land, taking 577 shots this season from beyond the arc. Connecticut, 772 shots were 3-pointers this year. And again, for the season, they were much more deadly, as I told you earlier. So I think ultimately here, that's why you got to go ahead and lay the 6.5 points and take Connecticut in this spot. It's been a 9-year drought since Connecticut won its 11th championship back in 2015. I think most people will probably grab the points with South Carolina here if they haven't bet it already, because you're going, oh, it's South Carolina, they're defending champions, they're a strong defensive team. But I just think this is Connecticut's year. So anyway, Connecticut is going to be your complimentary play, guys. I wish you well and talk to you again tomorrow.